Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. You might have noticed that this is all white now instead of black. That was because I wanted a new change of pace. So today we're going to be ranking every single before Christmas of Big Nate comics. So without further ado, let's do this. 31, 2015. So this one is about how Nate claims that he found school picture guy dressed up as Santa, but it's actually a different person dressed up as Santa, and then school picture guy is someone else instead, the elf. And the reason why I put this one low is because it's only a Sunday, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else interesting about it. 30, 2020. Ellen tells Nate to get what she wants specifically, but Nate's like, can I pick instead? So he picks something like a bobblehead. And again, this one I put it low. These both can be interchanged, but the reason why I put this one higher because it can be a little chuckle. But again, it's only a Sunday, which really sucks. 29, 2006. Nate writes a list of complaints and tells it to Mr. Rosa, but he tells him during a bad day, and then he goes insane. And there's not really much mention to Christmas, so that's why I put it low. And also, it's just not that interesting to read. If you want to read something, it's better not to read this. 28, 2011. So Spitzy and Pickles are having a date, and Francis and Nate find out they're engaged. Okay, that's a bit weird. But the reason why I put this one low is because it has a few small chuckles here and there, but it's not really that funny to read because there's just better ones out there than this one. 27, 2007. You know what's odd? When I did Big Nate's Christmas comics, I also included the dog one for some reason. So I try to avoid the ones that I've done already and then just pick the new one. So this focuses on basketball, and that's it. Nothing else. Everything's all about basketball in this one comic arc. Nothing is interesting. There's a few chuckles here and there, but there's better basketball comics from Big Nate than this one. 26, 2005. Ah, yes, Nate decides to make Ask Dr. Love. And while it is a bit interesting and has some pretty funny stuff, the reason why I put this one low is because it doesn't really focus on Christmas, and also after reading it for a while, it's okay. It's kind of mediocre. 25, 1999. So this is where Nate basically finds an art magazine and decides to become someone. Oh yeah, there's a Scooby-Doo reference. Besides that, that's the reason why I put this one higher. There's not really much to it, and it's kind of boring. 24, 2015. This is about wrestling. Dun dun dun. And you might be wondering, why did I put this Sunday up? Well, because Nate brings his revenge on Coach John. Just this once. But otherwise, it's okay. It's mediocre. 23, 2021. So, we're actually getting into the comics that are actually pretty decent. Yes, this doesn't really mention Christmas, but the reason why I put it is because it is actually pretty funny to read, and it definitely is a good one to reread over and over again, and because due to its incredible plot line, which I loved a lot. 22, 2004. So it's raining, and Nate decides to complain to Wink Summers. However, it doesn't go so well. He hangs up, puts it on hold. Everything doesn't go so well. And I absolutely love that kind of stuff. I wish Big Nate does this now, because it was really funny back then, and was actually really decent. 21, 2000. So, it's basically hockey time for Nate and his friends, but then Ellen and his friends ruin everything, and that's the gist of that. So, this one is really funny, and it has just some funny jokes here and there that will definitely want you to read it over and over, and it's just so iconic. 2008. So this first part of this 2-week arc starts where it turns out that it's the last week of Jefferson, and next week they go to PS38, and the other is, they go back to PS38. And it has some incredible jokes. My favorite is where a school picture guy is about to tape something, but he's too late, and that's my favorite part of this. 2013. So Gina loves Chad and she wants to tell him that, but Chad's like, nah, I'm good. And Gina gets upset, but then fails on her test and then goes back to her regular self. And it's actually really funny. I just love its humor and all that kind of stuff. 2014. So Nate wants a student lunch, and Principal Nicholas is like, nah, I don't want any. So Nate tells some of his classmates that they want a student lounge, and eventually Principal Nicholas decides to do a student lounge, and it happens. And the reason why I put this one higher is because it has some funny jokes here and there. 2012. Nate and Francis are going on a date with their girlfriends, and Nate is left out. But then Nate's like, I want to go, and he goes and then meets up with School Picture Guy and Gina, and it's a crazy comic arc, and I just love characters having some funny jokes here and there to make it an interesting story. 2002. Nate isn't really preparing for the test. All he is just predicting that snow will come just so it cancels the test, but it never happens, and it's too late. So here's an interesting story. If you go to Code Comics, they're both duplicated for some reason, but oh well, they're really funny, and the reason why I put this one higher is because it's just pretty funny to read. 2016. So it's time to write a scary story. Nate's ideas aren't that great, so the teacher shoots them down, and then Nate's like, let's make a story about a figure skating as the scary story. The teacher noticed that Gina and Nate's story are very similar. Teddy and Francis think they're in love with each other because of the similar story ideas, and they deny it. And it's a pretty funny thing because of that. 2001. At the beginning of, this week, it doesn't start strong, but later it gets strong when Kelly decides to take Nate for figure skating, but Nate complains, and it's pretty funny to see Nate complain to his, ex-girlfriend, now at least. And the reason why I put this one higher, because it's the first one that actually does something about snow and something before, Christmas and all that kind of stuff. And I just love that kind of humor. 2019. So, Spitzy decides to stay with Nate. And you know what's interesting about this one? This entire thing is all about them just, watching some Christmas specials. And, that is very charming, and that's the only reason why I put this one up higher, because I just love Spitzy's reactions to its, Christmas specials, and I just love that kind of stuff. 2017. Nate helps out with School Picture Guy, and that's the gist of that. I love its kind of charm, and I just love the kids' reactions when they talk to, School Picture Guy with a lot of other things. And, it's just really charming to see the kids' reactions. 2003. So this is all about the winter dancing. There's a lot of funny, stuff going on with Nate trying to get a girl, but it just doesn't go so well. And, I just love what Nate does to try and woo a girl for just this dance. And, it's just really funny and charming to see that kind of stuff. 2018. This is all about the church cookie swap. And, the reason why I put this one higher is because I like its jokes, and some of them make me giggle a lot. And it has tons of humor. And it's just really funny to, read. And I will definitely read this over and over again because of its humor and all of its other stuff. 2010. Here's a simple yet funny plot. Basically, there's a dance show going on. And Nate's like, guys, we should have Enslaved the Molochs, perform there. And they actually do perform, but then the power cuts out and everything's ruined. And, I just love its ending, and I just love everything else, and I will definitely enjoy this in the near future. 1993. So this is the first one that I'm adding to this list that is based on something that Nate wrote. I put this one low, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's about Action Kid, and yes, I know it sounds bloody, but Nate doesn't show its bloody kind of stuff, and, it's actually really interesting, and that's why I put it at number 9, because it's actually really funny to read.
7, 1991. So this is the first time that Nate writes something for Christmas, and he writes Dr. Sirpool because back then it was like one of the only comics that was out there. And this was actually the first time that Dr. Sirpool got represented for, a Christmas, comic made by Nate Wright. And it's really funny, and it's very iconic, and while it's simple, it's very iconic to read. 6, 1994. Okay, I forgot to mention the summary of 1991, but it was very simple that I didn't even mention it. But this one is about how elves are sick, and Dr. Spool is helping. And, it has a lot of funny stuff here and there, and it's just very enjoyable to, read when you're reading it on Christmas. 5, 1998. So this is where Biff talks to Chunky the elf, and it's basically an interview. It has some pretty funny jokes here and there, and it has tons of humor. I know I said it many, many times, but it's just really funny and charming to read. 4, 1992. Again, this is Dr. Sirpool, but this is the best one because it just has some comedic jokes here and there, and has incredible depth, and it's just really enjoyable. And I also love how Dr. Sirpool is Santa. That's my highlight. That's the highlight of the day. 3, 1995. In a rare twist of events, this entire week is just this comic. And I love that because it's really funny, and it has incredible depth, and it focuses on Memento because he's one of the funniest characters that Nate has ever created. And he just has so much comedic timing, which is the sole purpose of why I put this one higher. It's just so funny to read. 2, 1996. So this focuses on the Snugglies. And it's just really charming. The Snugglies is meant to be very wholesome and all that kind of stuff. And it's just really, really charming. And it has some unique jokes. I love the ending, which is really funny. And it's just so funny to read. And that's why I put it higher on the list. Because it's just really funny to read. 1, 1997. This is one of the best Big Nate comics that I've ever read. Because it focuses on Santa Uncover. It has so many jokes, so many depth. It's just really charming to read. It's definitely one of the best ways to prepare for Christmas. And I just love that kind of humor, and it's my favorite one of them all. Thank you so much for watching my video. Celebrate Christmas the right way, please. Alright, bye.